So first of all, let's go and migrate from HP ALM. ALM is running over here. This is ALM, if you remember it. It's an older-looking application. As you know, ALM has to run in IE. It only runs in that browser. And I've downloaded and already installed our migration tool onto this computer here, the HP ALM importer. So double-click on it. And that's the URL, login and password for ALM. Logged in successfully. The first warning was that I couldn't access the site admin. I don't need the site admin. That's optional. And then I'm going to choose the domain and the project. I'm going to migrate over the demo project, which is the tours application. And I'm going to bring over all the information just to save time for today's demo. I'm not going to bring over the attachments because that does take longer, but it can do that as well. Hit next. That's our login for SpiraTest. Sorry, in this case, SpiraPlan as well. And it works with SpiraTest or Team or Plan. Okay. And start import. As it does the import, it actually writes everything to a log file as well. And that log file can be found on the desktop, QC import right here. HP ALM, oh great, that's finished. With that, it's done, hit done. You can look in the log file. The log file is really important, and all the migration tools have a log file. Look in the log file, it goes through exactly what was migrated. If it couldn't access certain fields or anything like that, whatever the issue is, it will warn you. So it's really useful to have that reference. It's also a good audit trail to you know exactly what links were created. If it couldn't access the data because the ALM API wouldn't let you in, which unfortunately does happen, then you'll know. And so it gets you an idea of why something didn't happen. So do review the log, but obviously the first thing you do is check what imported. Let's have a look. So with the ALM importer and many of the other importers that we have for legacy tools, we do create the product automatically and we customize it with the appropriate fields. So that's one good thing. So let's go ahead and have a look. Oh, I lost my import file. Hold on. Desktop, here we go. Adding project list, a demo project is called. Okay, so that's good to know. What is it actually called? Oh, there it is. I couldn't see it. Demo project. So let's select that. Let's go to require. Oh, first of all, let's go to custom fields because actually we do import the custom properties. So if we go to custom properties for this project, we'll notice, and it does create a new template, and the logins and the emails, the logins get imported as well. So we've imported from ALM the various custom fields. The ALM ID is also added as a field. Test case ID. So that way there's traceability when you migrate in to the different artifacts that came in from ALM. So let's look at requirements. So the requirements come in. There's our requirements tree. And it mirrors pretty much what's in ALM. There's ALM. It's uglier, but it's all there. There's our requirements tree. You can see, at least, this is, these are test sets. Sorry, I need to go to requirements. Oh, test resources. There's tests. There's defects. It's all here. So these are your requirements and your test cases. If you go, here's all the requirements coming in from ALM, and the test coverage is all here. If you go to a test case requirements, first of all, the tree structure is maintained. It's a feature. The priorities, any values that we had in ALM will be here. The reviewer field is populated. The existing ID in ALM is here too. The release is brought across. So we bring over as many of the relations as we can. We also bring on the description. We also bring over the test coverage. So these are the tests that are linked in ALM to this. We can then drill down, go to a particular test case. In ALM, this one failed. Again, custom fields here are all filled out. The level, the priority, the reviewer, is it reviewed? The ALM test case ID is right here. There's the description. We actually maintain the formatting from ALM, which is nice. And we bring over all the test steps with the formatting and the parameters. And if we link to test cases, like child test cases, all of that stuff gets brought over. So it's really, really good. It brings over the entire system and all the relationships. There's the defects that were logged. And if we go into test sets, so we actually go into test cases, Here's all the test cases. The subject hierarchy is here. All the tests are here. I mean, it is a full import load, which is nice. Going to the test sets. Your test sets are all here. Here's a test set. The data, the formatting. There's your test cases. There's your test runs. If you want to see an execution, you go into test runs. There's a failed run. Let's have a look at that one. There's your failed run. And there's your step-by-step what happened. So it's pretty neat. You've got everything here. And lastly, let's go to defects. And all the defects loaded into, with all the priorities and severities and everything loaded in. So it's a pretty good import with all the data. And the last thing is, let's go to dashboard. Let's use some of the new reporting in Spira, and we get dashboards. So let's look at testing. Requirements test coverage, test progress. Because we use the dates that ALM had, we're bringing in all the history from ALM. So it's really nice. You get a full project load with all the defect information, the requirements information, the coverage. And that took a few more minutes, and everything's migrated across. So it's a lot easier if you can use a tool migration like ALM rather than Excel. But obviously, if your data is not in a tool, or it's a tool that doesn't have a plugin for yet, then obviously you have to use Excel. So that's an example of a tool-based migration.